Welcome to this week's video. This is an exciting one. We're doing the Bowron Lake Circuit. If you haven't heard of it, it's a circuit of lakes all connected by a few portages, but mostly rivers and channels. The trip takes about a week to complete, and we're gonna go through the first half of that week in this video. Next half will be out next week. We had a really good time. Without further ado, let's get into it. First, though, we need to meet up with my family who are across the state from me. Just like always, there are chapters down below if you want to skip around. Let's get the car loaded and get out of here. Well, it would seem that we're just about ready to go. It's just after 2 now, and Aaliyah's just doing final preparation. I thought I'd show you what the inside of our car looks like. So we've got all our stuff for the car camping trip that we're gonna go on after it in here. Up here, we have all of our canoe trip gear, and that's about it. We're ready to leave on our 2-week vacation. It should be really fun. I'm excited to bring you along. If you're wondering what I was talking about there with the car camping stuff, we're actually doing a week-long car camping trip immediately after the circuit. So that video is going to be out after this one. Go check it out if you think that sounds interesting. But for now, we need to get across the state, and the drive went very uneventfully. The next morning, we got up at the crack of dawn to make the roughly 10-hour drive up to Canoed, which was where we were staging for the night. We're all packed in here, and all 6 of us in the truck, and we're heading up.
The good part is you can use the carpool lane in the traffic this morning.
That drive also went very uneventfully. Nothing really happened. We did stop at a provincial park that was just beautiful, very well taken care of, to have lunch. Then we continued on to our hotel, which we learned on the drive up was reviewed very, very poorly. Made it to our hotel. The reviews are mixed at best, so we'll see how this goes. However, despite the reviews, it was good enough for us, and we were happy to have a nice warm shower before we took off on the lake. We even had an opportunity to kind of hang out that evening, get some geocaches. We got up bright and early next morning to get on the lakes as quickly as possible. We're all packed back in the truck, heading to the lake. Our check-in went great, and before we knew it, we were already starting, which happens to be a portage, so we weren't actually going to be on the lakes for another 1.5 miles. We're off. So if you watch much of my stuff, you might have noticed the audio quality you're hearing is not really up to my standards. That's because I didn't bring these things with me on the trip because they're kind of bulky and I didn't want to be carrying extra stuff. We are in the backcountry after all, so bear with me on that. The portage went by pretty quickly, really. We were full of energy, ready to go, and the 1.5 miles was gone before we even knew it, and we were coming up to our first lake. We made it. That was a lot of work.
No, I got it. Never mind, I can do it this way.
Alright, I guess we're sliding in. Oh. God, it feels so unstable. We're in? We're in. Jeez. A quick note on our level of experience, by the way. I think between the 6 of us, we might have 4 total experiences with canoes. So we really have never done much canoeing at all. That might explain some of the trepidation you're seeing on our faces and maybe some of the zigzagging that you might see later. Right for the stump. Nailed it.
Nailed it. Nailed the stomping. Yay!
Time for lunch. Today we're luxury. The rest of the trip, not so much. Well, we're going again. Oh boy, we're narrow here. Oh wow. And we're off onto, what is this, Indian Lake you said? Indian Head Lake, onto the second lake. Time to get paddling. Each campsite is marked with either an orange or a white marker. This one over here is marked with a white marker, and that means it's for groups of 7 or more, or a group of 6, so we're looking for ones with an orange marker. But we're gonna finish this lake and then do one more portage, which is about a little over half the length, and then we'll find a campsite. We have a channel to go through and then another really tiny lake, and then we can take out, it looks like. It looks like it might go to the left. That is, we're gonna have to go hard right around this log here. Oh. Uh-oh. Trying. I think we might have been supposed to go the other way through here. This is looking a little more promising. Don't look at me, it was the guy on the video that can't navigate. Well, we did make it, or at least we have. Hey, there's our little lake I was talking about. Let's see if our compatriots made it through. They made it! Alright, now we just gotta paddle across this little tiny lake and then we'll be doing our last portage of the day. Looks like we want to pull up alongside the right, maybe?
Just a trip to the tree.
I'm not just standing here filming, I did the last one. And this is our last portage of the day. And for quite a while, probably the next 2 days. The next lake is huge. This is sort of glamping compared to what I usually am used to. There's a fire ring, a bench, pit toilets at every single campsite, as well as bear bins. It's pretty freaking nice. They've got this trip down to a science, it would seem.
It's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be eating today. Oh.
On to Issac Lake. This is by far the largest lake on the circuit. We'll be on here for the rest of the day, just going a little bit, and then all of tomorrow, and then probably part of the next day too. We made it. Home sweet home for the night.
I don't know if it is chilly.
Used to. We've been very impressed with the quality of the outhouses here. This one's probably the stinkiest one yet, and it isn't even that bad. But yeah, that's our camp for the night. Campsite number 11. Sounds like tomorrow we're gonna try to get to 22. It looks like we'll try and put down more distance, but there are no portages because, like I mentioned, this lake is huge.
1, 2, 3,
Hell
4.
Well,
4. I'm
better
done.
than what I have by a little bit, but it's garbage.
Doesn't look like it.
2 more? I'll bet another one. I was waiting for one more spade.
Kind of had to stay in there.
I don't have enough room in my pockets, guys, with the big rocks.
You dropped one. Don't lose your rock. And I threw it right in the water. It was a failure. That was really bad. So my sister thought she'd try and make her own dehydrated meals. So this is what we'll be eating all week for dinner. And these bags are also homemade as well. So apparently 15-20 minutes this will be ready. We'll see. Alright, final review. This was advertised to us as being very mediocre, but better than nothing, which I guess is kind of what you want out here.
Our little lady. The yellow one? They're actually moving.
I believe the advertisement was accurate. It is edible. The vegetables didn't rehydrate all that well, but they're fine. Sleep. We're using these mattresses for the first time, so we'll see if they work all right. Night. Morning. Apparently it's windy in the afternoon, so
Saturday morning we're gonna be getting the butt crapping on to get paddling before it's too windy. Slept pretty well last night. Breakfast every morning is protein bars.
There's no way to explain all the things I feel. I feel weak, I feel weird, just like I'm not even real. A deep blue sky without me.
Where we're heading to right now is a cabin, and we're gonna head over there, see what there is to see. We made it. Now we're gonna look around here. There's a shelter over there and a cabin over there we're gonna check out. But first, brunch. Usually we expect the worst because it always seems to rain, but we're lucky this time so far. The cabin's actually kind of interesting. It was in two parts. We think it might be so it can be gendered when rangers are staying there, or maybe junior rangers or something, I'm not sure. But it was really nice in there, and they had some power set up, and they also had a pump that ran out into the lake so they could pump water directly from the lake. And yes, the astute amongst you might have noticed it's gotten dark. This is my second night editing this. If you're liking it, please give it a like, because I've put a lot of work into editing this and filming it. Back to, you guessed it, more paddling. Decided to stop at another little shelter. I don't think there's any ranger cabin here, but looks like a nice camp site. Yep, number 18. Man, this door is a little bit short. Here you got a couple of bunks here, table over there. Looks like in some seasons a little stream runs down here, but it's dry right now. Oh wow. I think I might hike up here a little bit. We are finally coming up on the stream itself now. There we go. Leah and I have been moved over to the gear boat, so we're gonna see how this goes with me steering. This is the first time I think I've ever steered a canoe. Oh God, sit down. All right, we are Lake Bowron.
Feels like I don't know you. You don't feel the same. It feels like I've lost you, floating into space. All the things we've been through.
We arrived at our lunch stop. This is what we're doing for lunch today, a double tortilla tuna fish thing. Chicken salad. The makings over there. Back up tortilla.
You gotta do better than that.
We got 2 miles until our camp, which is right there on that point. Not too bad of a camp out on the point here. See in both directions here. It's go see where we're gonna be sleeping for the night. One tent pad and 2 tent pads. And the bear box and John up there. Hey, reached my calorie goal. Oh, well, here goes nothing. Woo! Oh, it's a little cold.
Oh yeah, you got the Bowron one.
Yep.
We missed that.
This is what we're having for dinner tonight. Apparently it's chicken mac and cheese. And I think Myra said it was the worst of the 3. We'll have to see. All right, here we go. I've been informed that the chicken does not rehydrate all that well. That's chewy, but I mean, it's chicken. It's kind of like it's been overcooked almost, which I guess makes some sense. That was good. Day 2 complete. Tomorrow's gonna be just about as long. Night.
Good morning. Time for day 3.
Breakfast. Da, 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 da. We are ashore. So we're stopping here because there's apparently a geocache here. Geocaches are rated on 2 scales, terrain and difficulty, and that's a 5-point scale, and these are terrain 5, difficulty 5s that we're going to be finding today. And of course I haven't found one of those before. So this geocache is actually at campsite 25. This campsite has 3 tent pads and the John right there. We're heading up this trail here to try and find it. I wonder if it's in the old John. I don't think so. We're not quite on it yet.
This is cool though.
Probably right in there.
Yeah.
We're done in there.
It is a regular size, so like the size of an ammo can or something. On the trail to the old mossy outhouse in the stump of a fallen tree under a veil of moss. Oh, Mom found it. There it is.
This cache was inspired by our 2010 trip around the circuit. Our paddling team consisted of myself along with my trekking buddy daughter Sarah, daughter Megan, sister Cecilia, and nephew Martin, aka Evan Rude.
That's the kind of motor.
The view down Issac Lake was stunning. The sun was setting and the air warm and the lake inviting. We all went for a swim and then proceeded to enjoy a remarkable sunset. We did manage to eat supper as we watched the sunset and the moon rise and stars come out. Truly magical. Hence the cache name.
Maybe there was like an apron of moss over it at one point.
That was about 3 miles from our camp, and then we're gonna go about 6 more miles until we get to what's called the chute, which is a little bit of rapids.
You're out of time, and now you're out of time.
Stopped here to have a rest and look around, but we're going to stop again at about a mile before the chute. Since people were carving up all over the cabins and such, they put up these boards for people to carve on so they don't carve on the cabins, hopefully, and it seems to work pretty well. And then another tradition is to carve a paddle while you're on the river, and they have spots for you to hang those here as well. I might have lied. It looks like the chute's right here. I thought it was a little further down. That looks like a chute if I've ever seen one. I kind of agree with Joel. That does kind of look like a chute, but that is not the chute. I'll explain more in a bit. We will be doing a little less paddling from here until we get to the next lake, which I think is about 3 to 5 miles. I can't remember exactly. Well, we made it to the waterfall, and according to that sign, we probably shouldn't go down it on our own. We got about a half-mile portage. So what happened here is we saw these big, scary yellow signs, and we thought we had to take out because we were like, oh, this must be the falls, we've done the chute. However, in hindsight, none of the signs actually said you must take out, they just said warnings. So thinking that, we did take out and did the optional portage through the chute instead of actually doing the chute. We're out of practice. We've been paddled the whole lake since we did this last. Oh, there it goes. Looking at it on the trails here, it probably was a pretty good decision considering how unexperienced we were, but also we kind of wanted to try it out, maybe with like an empty boat or something. That seems like the real chute to me. It's like kind of cartoonish. Those are the shoes of performance. Oh. And this one's on the right side, and it says mandatory portage.
Missed it. We missed the rapids.
Yeah, that looked like a chute to me. Man. Huh. Alright, we pulled over here just after that last portage to try and find our second geocache of the day. Alright, I can't find it here. I've looked quite a few places. It's a really bummer to have come this far and not be able to find this. But I've got 3 people waiting in the boat and 2 more people waiting for lunch for me, so I think it's about time we give up. This is what's for lunch today. It's peanut butter powder and jelly on tortillas. 75. And that's actually pretty good. There we go. Oh, perfect. Ooh, well, 32. This looks a little grassy. A little overgrown. Sleeping accommodations are set up. I've heard that the bathroom is in a great state. Let's go check it out.
Campsite needs help.
Perfect. This is what we're doing for dinner tonight. It's dehydrated chili.
Spaghetti.
That actually rehydrated really well.
Yeah.
You only bid one.
I realize that.
Oh,
I didn't realize I was.
Well, it smells like feet in here, but that's the end of day 3, so good night.
That does it for the first half of this video. Hopefully past Joel gets a good night's rest and is ready to go for next week when next week's video comes out. If you want to be sure to catch that, make sure to subscribe. And if you liked this video, then hit the like button. And if you have any questions, then please leave them down below. I'd be happy to answer them. Hope I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for watching.
We can touch our paddles just about halfway across it, so I'm gonna see how far out I can walk. Oh, God, that's cold! I'm gonna be the first one across the lake.